order. This is the insurance meeting. I talked with Justice White last week, and he had talked with Jeremy. And it seems like that the attorneys, when they met with Gerber and Performance, didn't make any great progress. Performance came up with more than we anticipated, but Gerber didn't come up with much at all. So I'm going to let Jeremy tell us what he knows, and then if Kelly wants to add anything to it, we'll do that. But it appears that we have a situation that's going to be costly, perhaps to the county, if we don't do something about it. And we're here today to make a decision on whether we want to proceed with some type of lawsuit or whatever. So at this point, let's hear and learn some of the facts. And Jeremy, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with you.
Okay. Like he said, they had the mediation Wednesday, which didn't go well. Gerber, they just didn't show up with enough money to even, mediations where you sit in the same building, maybe in separate rooms, and kind of go back and forth with offers. One side's going down steadily, one side's going up steadily, until you hopefully come to something where nobody's happy. That's the way it normally works. But they didn't show up with enough money on there to even, they left in 10 minutes.
Tell us what that amount was, Jeremy?
It was, I think he said $115,000 or something like that. And we're talking, I don't know how many claims. It was nothing compared to what we're talking.
So Gerber's offered $15,000.
I think it was $115,000.
100.
That's from my memory what he told me Wednesday.
Okay. And do you remember what Performance offered?
No, he didn't. No.
And how much is the total on our end?
I don't know that that's been added up.
But it's over 8.
But they weren't talking paying a percentage of claims or anything. They were just talking about some flat sum, and they're off the hook. And we don't know what are going to be the claims.
We're over 800,000 on
Yeah.
this, yeah.
So they basically offered, that's like offering zero, and so everybody left. And so the judge they had a follow-up call because the judge wanted to talk to everybody after mediation on Thursday, and he had told them, the call that I want to get is it's settled. And instead they got, Gerber showed up with basically nothing. And so the judge said, well, that's not going to work. Y'all, you keep talking about it, and we'll have another follow-up call tomorrow. And so they had a conference call again Friday, and the judge just told them, well, if you're not gonna settle, then you need to set this for arbitration, because in our contract with Gerber and in these folks' contract with Gerber, I'm sure with all of them, there is an arbitration clause where instead of going to court, you actually have to arbitrate. It's basically, it's like a court procedure, but instead of an actual judge, you normally have retired judges. It's normally a panel of like 3. You try your case like you would in trial, and then the arbitrators make a final decision that's non-appealable. So they're scheduling an arbitration for somewhere. Gerber's in New York, and these folks are in Ohio, so you don't want to get arbitrators who are biased. And so I think they're going to try to work on some neutral site and try to get judges that are not from either place, or arbitrators that are not from either place. And the judge there in Ohio recommended, he doesn't have jurisdiction over us to tell us what to do, but he recommended that Dave Nickel try to get everybody else on board, as many people as possible, to participate in that arbitration. Since then, Gerber has offered to pay 40% of all claims. If somebody, and they don't care who, whether it's the counties or there's a couple private companies that have plans, or whether it's Performance Health or whoever, they don't really care where the money comes from. They'll pay 40% if somebody else will match that 40%, and then the idea would be to try to negotiate the claims down where the providers accept 80% of what they're due. It's not, I mean, that's really not a good faith offer either. That's not even something that I would consider us to get involved in some kind of fund to pay 40% of claims that Gerber's supposed to be paying.
So you're thinking the other 40% would be the county and not performance?
I think performance would chip in some, and then the county would have to chip in the rest, and I have no idea how high performance would be willing to go. I don't even know that it's worth going that far, because I think Gerber's on the hook for 100, not even just 80, and I don't know that there's any reason for us to be paying some portion of 40%. The question really today is whether or not we want to join in that arbitration. And if we do, Mr. Nichols said he had calls today with 3 other county attorneys, and that he's trying to get everybody on board, or as many on board as possible to participate in this arbitration, and that we're looking probably about 6 months out before that can be scheduled.
Are those Arkansas counties, or do you know?
Well, there are, what I tell you, was it 5 or 6 Arkansas counties? It's
Crittenden,
Mississippi, Crittenden,
Lawrence,
yep, Jefferson, Cross, and I think there's one more. I think there's 6 Arkansas counties, and there are maybe 3 in Mississippi.
Are all 6 of these talking about joining in this arbitration, or do you?
Yeah, he's talking all of them.
All of them?
Have you heard what any of the others have decided?
No.
I called some of the county judges, and I didn't really talk to one that was, that knew all of the facts, and they told me they were gonna go back and review those, and I asked if our attorney, Jeremy, could talk to theirs, and everybody's agreed to that.
Judges are, I don't know, is or are, I'll have to ask somebody that knows, are the other counties, do they have as much expense or claims as we have?
I asked that question, and they did not know.
And did you get a decent answer?
No, they said they didn't know. The county judges I was talking to.
Well, I think Justice White will tell you ours is close to $1 million.
Jeremy, isn't that what you said a minute ago, 800,000, a little better?
It was 800,000, it's going up. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but it's over $800,000.
Yeah, I think we're pushing $1 million.
Are you, where's this arbitration gonna take place?
Don't know yet. And it won't be in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And that is another thing about maybe joining in with these guys is arbitrators are usually retired judges. Like, I mean, if you see People's Court, Judge Wapner is an arbitrator. That's what that is. I mean, and he's a retired judge. So they usually get retired judges that serve as arbitrators that don't want to work full time, but they're willing to work, every once in a while to decide things. And normally you would want to get 3 arbitrators who are experienced in this case, insurance law. So they, not just a judge, you would like to get 3 that are really experienced in this area of law. And that would be hard to find if we're confined to just Arkansas. I don't know that there are that many arbitrators here anyway. And so finding 3 here that are, have some expertise in insurance law may be difficult. And if we expand it a little bit, where we're looking elsewhere, we might have more luck with that.
Well, then that's gonna be an expense on the county. We may get reimbursed if we win a lawsuit, but initially, that's gonna have to come out of county general.
That's right. The arbitration, and we would be, actually, performance is willing to foot the bill for the arbitration itself. Now, as far as travel, well, I don't know about that, but they're willing to pay for the arbitration.
How long do you think this process might take, Jeremy?
He's talking about hopefully having one set up in about 6 months. And
6 months.
Yep. Yep.
So we're looking at January.
Yep. And if we filed a federal lawsuit, it would be more like at least a year to actually get a court date where the judge has time to hear the case. That's at least, I would say.
What do you think, Judge?
With court,
I don't think we've got a choice.
arbitration, excuse me, with arbitration, we're not gonna get 100%, are we? Do you think-
I'd say the odds are about the same as if we went to court, as far as what we get. Arbitration's not, it's not a settlement process, it's a court process. It's just not in front of an actual
It'll be a
judge.
Settlement as far as it'll be a done deal.
It'll be a done deal.
So it's binding arbitration? our
Binding
policy
arbitration. This is not a mediation where you're trying to settle and each side's trying to move, to some point. This is an arbitration where it's like going to court. We could win 100%. It's or we could win 0.
This is a trick question, and I know you may not give me an answer, but an arbitrator, and I know there's gonna be different, like Judge Wapner's probably way more expensive than your average, because he's a TV personality.
Right.
I mean, a good decent arbitrator, what do you think?
I don't know what they charge. My guess would be probably around, $400 an hour per arbitrator.
That could include travel time and all that?
I don't know if they would charge for the travel or not. I would if I was. I mean, they're retired. They don't have to do it.
Yeah.
So you're saying though that this is, so Performance Health is willing to foot the bill for that?
They
That's
are.
correct. So do we have any recourse on Performance Health? I mean, they're
It's possible. I mean, all I know is what I've been told as far as who's at fault. It looks to me like it's Gerber's, but yeah, I mean, it could definitely. There's definitely a possibility that there's something that Performance Health has not been doing that they should have been.
right, I mean, because we signed it under one term and then they changed it without our knowledge. Is that right?
That was Gerber.
But I thought Performance Health signed, I thought that was the less,
Gerber sent Performance Health a letter saying the new limit, about Mississippi County, the new limit is now, what did it go up to? It was 600,000, went up to 900, over 900,000, 970, somewhere around there. That was Gerber.
Jeremy, did Mr. Nichols discuss with you the fact that Gerber has already been in this position once, has already gone to arbitration once? Did he talk with you about that at all?
No, I haven't. He didn't mention that, and I wasn't aware of that.
I haven't talked to Mr. Nichols at all, so, but.
No, he's never mentioned that to me.
The ladies that worked for LS, the ones that we contracted with and all, they check in every now and then. And you might want to ask Mr. Nichols, because it's my understanding that Gerber actually has already this isn't their first rodeo. They've gone through this before. And the last time they went to arbitration, they lost, and they lost totally. They got found responsible for 100% of the bill. And if I understand correctly, they got fined, I guess you'd call it fined or penalized, $1 million in punitive damages on top of the bill because of all this stuff that we're going through now.
Right. In Arkansas, under Arkansas law, you're not supposed to get punitive damages for breach of contract. They can award full attorney's fees and costs. And so, whatever we're out in attorney's fees and costs, they can award that. Now, an arbitrator's supposed to follow the law, but they're not necessarily bound by it. So they could, I guess theoretically, that could happen in arbitration, and it can't happen.
Well, I don't know that it happened in Arkansas. I just think it happened to Gerber somewhere else.
If it happened somewhere else, another state may have different law, but in Arkansas, you can't. The court can't award punitive damages for a breach of contract like this. They can award attorney's fees and costs so that we're not out any money. They can award, interest. I don't know what they could do for the employees that are having to.
That was another question I had for you. Can you send every employee that's been turned into collection agency a letter, or give them just a blank letter saying, look, this is the county attorney, and the county's involved with the lawsuit against the insurance company, and possibly send these to these collection agencies and stop, at least keep it from going on their credit or something, and maybe.
I'd be happy to do that. I can have I need, names and addresses, obviously.
Well, I mean, that's something probably that employees would just have to come volunteer and give to Kelly, because can't discuss, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it would just, if they want that, we just need to put that out there where we can't get that. It may help. I don't know if it would or not, but
I drafted up a form letter like that just says, Gerber's refusing to pay claims, and, I've got insurance coverage, but my insurer is refusing to pay claims, and, it's actually being litigated right now. And, we're hoping that the litigation will result in you being paid.
Do you feel like that's reasonable letter? Do you think the collection agencies will?
It depend on the collection agency.
We've talked about that, getting a letter and give it to the employees that are being,
Yep.
well, they're trying to collect from, and they can just make copies of it and give it to people, that doctors, hospitals that are trying to collect, and make a copy each time, either from the judge or from Jeremy, whichever they choose.
it could be from both, as far as that goes. The judge and Jeremy's, could be a letter the judge signs and a letter that Jeremy writes and has his.
Well, I was just asking if it would work.
Do we know, what I don't, I know that, Reggie Cullum, I know that he's had several, and I'm sure the hospital has. I'm sure most
Dr.
of them-
Wagner in Manila.
Yeah, like the local people for sure, but I would like to know if there are more. I'm sure there are, but.
A lot of people went to Memphis, a lot of people went to Jonesboro.
Well, my question is, so, I know you have quite a bit to do with this. So if you were to receive that letter, would that keep you from trying to collect and kind of just?
Might hold off for a little while anyway, because it's a lot easier to collect from an insurance company than it is from somebody, to garnish somebody's wages.
Right. That's my question is,
Yeah.
it's nice that they're gonna get a letter. The question
Right.
is, will the letter work?
I think in some circumstances it will, and some it won't. It's gonna depend on the collection agency, so.
Some of our employees are seeing an almost more immediate effect in particularly pediatric patients with children, where their doctors are at the point of refusing to service their children or see their children until the bills are paid. And so now they're having to seek outside medical care or switch doctors and stuff. I don't know what to do about that, but we got employees that are suffering like that right now. I just don't know what to do.
And with all this, with the virus going around, it's, kind of bad timing.
Justice White, do you have any comments from the Finance Committee you'd like to make before we ask for a motion?
No, sir, I'm just all about the employees. I'm really, really deeply concerned. What are we gonna do? We can't let our employees go bankrupt. We can't let them go without medical care. I just don't know how to fix it short term, so I just wanted to hear everybody's suggestions. Me personally, now, I just don't know. Can we come off $1 million and then hope to collect it ourselves?
Well, that's.
That was a question, Jeremy.
I did check into that, whether or not the county can pay out some money without damaging without jeopardizing our, and the first thing that, I talked to Dave Nickel about that, and he said, no, he does not think that would waive anything, that we'd still be okay if we could do that, and then we could ask for reimbursement from Gerber, because we had to pay it and Gerber should have, so no, we wouldn't be waiving anything. He did ask me to find out today how much we're talking about. Are we talking about a certain percentage for every single employee, or are we talking about, all right, we're gonna help some folks out that are really going through some problems, that are being denied care, or what is the idea? What are we proposing to do exactly?
Well, the fact that he asked you that runs up a flag, because he might want to use that in arbitration, and we don't want him to.
Yeah.
Let me ask one more question. I think we may have got confused, or I may have confused, I don't know. You said they're gonna pay for arbitration, but if we hire arbitrators, the county's gonna pay for them, correct?
No, I think they pay all.
Oh, they pay everything, all except for maybe travel.
Yeah. The whole thing is my understanding.
But Jeremy, my understanding is, if this is part of the policy, that you will submit to arbitration if there is a dispute, then that's really the only choice we have, is either go arbitration or drop it. Is that not so?
Yeah, well, it's either arbitrate as a group with them, or arbitrate ourselves, because if we sue them here, they're just gonna turn around and enforce the arbitration clause in our contract, and we'll have to arbitrate here by ourselves, as opposed to somewhere else as a group. That's our two choices, really.
Well, don't we have a third one filing in US court?
If we do, they'll enforce, they'll just say that we have an arbitration clause and we're not allowed to do that. And so-
We don't really have a choice about an open lawsuit. It's either arbitration or nothing, correct?
We can file a lawsuit, but there is an arbitration clause, and that's the first thing they'll say is, you can't do that, we've got an arbitration clause, and the judge will make us go arbitrate. So, it's, the two choices really are either arbitrate ourselves against them here, or arbitrate as a group against them wherever it ends up being.
I think it'd be stronger as a group.
I do too.
Absolutely.
I do too.
The chair will entertain a motion to join the group or arbitrate singularly.
I make a motion that we join the group and arbitrate.
I'll second.
And we have a second by Justice Jackson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You have your answer.
I will let them know.
Judge, is there any comments that you would like to make, or?
No, I believe that's, I believe that's the right decision.
I do too.
But where do we go from here, Chair? I mean, as far as the employees go,
Yeah.
where do we go with the employees? Are we leaving them hanging?
I guess that would be the county's decision whether to, that would be if there's money appropriated to pay for employees, we are allowed to do that. It's not gonna jeopardize our claim against Gerber. The question would be how to go about it, whose claims to pay, how much of each claim to pay. I'd be happy to write letters to physicians like was suggested.
I just give a letter to the employee, they can make multiple copies and give it to, send it
Yeah.
to collection agencies, give it to as many physicians as want.
Yeah.
I agree with Justice White, I mean, this may take a year, you said if we end up in a lawsuit, it could take longer, a lot of lawsuits will take, in federal court, could take 5 years. If there's some kind of way we can figure out who we can help, who needs help worse, and if the county can afford to help them, that's the big thing, whether.
It's over December 31st. We're just talking about the last half of last year.
Right.
Maybe and I don't know, guys, I wanted to hear everybody else's opinion, but maybe one step would be to ask our employees to come to us, to go to Kelly and Beverly and bring a dollar amount, just to give us an idea of what they're exposed to.
But
Just
also-
give us a start.
But also, we gotta know for sure that, it's hard to know, insurance doesn't pay everything always, and some of them had deductibles, some of them didn't have, some of them had 500 deductibles, and, we gotta be careful what we are paying, and that's just gonna be hard to look at, I wanna help, but if somebody had what was the highest deductible on that insurance you could have had? 500 was the least.
2,500.
So, if they had a 2,500 deductible, and their insurance company, the insurance claims paid everything but their deductible, and then, we don't need to be paying deductibles, but it's just gonna be hard to figure out, sort out, but
I think we gotta come up with some kind of plan, though.
I agree with you. They
We
can't
got
wait a
people
year.
that need help.
I think we should start with the letters, and see where we get,
Start with the letters that Jeremy will write to.
and pass out and see where we, see if we can get it stopped a little bit.
And I can do what you were talking about, and just try to kind of, to whom it may concern, and not make it out to each individual physician, and let the employee do they have policy numbers with the plan, or how does that?
Yeah, they would have policy numbers, they got on their insurance cards, if they kept their old insurance cards, policy numbers on there.
Okay, so I could just say my policy number is blank, leave it blank, let them fill out the policy number, when they're telling, whatever doctor that they're dealing with, I do have insurance, this is my insurance company, this is my policy number, I made a claim, but they're refusing to pay claims, it's in litigation right now. Ask me to please hold off and see what happens in litigation, we're hoping it results in you being paid, something to that effect.
What about if you developed a letter like that?
Yeah.
And Kelly had copies of it and then put out a memo to the county employees, anyone that gets a collection letter or a past due or something, let them come to her and she can document the amount and give them one of those letters to distribute to whoever's pressing them. Would that work?
Hey,
Kelly, we got some more work for you.
Chair?
Well, that way we have a running total
yeah.
of what
Peggy would like to speak.
is out there.
And that- yeah.
And Kelly probably knows who most of these people are. They've already been to her office saying, hey, can you help me? What's going on, you know? And
Peggy, you recognized?
I just want to say that, like, in my situation, my traumatic thing happened in September. And we are just now getting these large bills, and they're just now coming in. So like you're saying, you know, it's gonna grow probably. I haven't gotten any collection letters yet, but I did get a call from the airbag people the other day, and they've been trying to get their money.
Have you got any EOBs from the insurance company or
Oh,
anything?
yeah, yeah.
What do they say?
They say they haven't paid anything. Zero.
Can I get a copy of one of those from you? Just to see what they're putting out? I'd like to see that.
And he said that, the airbag people said that, you know, they tell him the same thing over and over, that, well, we're waiting on funds. He wasn't really asking me for money, but he just, you know, wanted to know if I could do anything to help.
Yeah.
And this was in September that, you know, it happened, so,
We have another employee in the situation you're in.
right.
Anybody else want to make a comment? Justice Norvell, Molly?
I got a question. How many, do we know a number of employees that this affects, a general number?
It affects everybody that was on the insurance plan from the time that our reinsurer was supposed to take effect. So we're thinking it's anywhere from mid-year last year to September.
I'm talking about the number of employees that didn't have their claims paid.
We're thinking it's everybody that had a claim from a certain point in the year to the end of the year. So I don't know. I mean, it would affect anybody that went to the doctor. I don't think they're picking and choosing. It's from a certain time of the year.
Well, I know, but I mean, not everybody had a
Claim.
medical claim
Yeah.
from,
Like me, I don't have any medical claims, so it's
Well,
not affecting me.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we don't have any way of knowing unless the employee comes to us, and performance is not giving out that information, I guess, due to HIPAA or whatever, but, I mean, we don't know the exact amount, and so we don't know how many people.
can we ask performance to come up with that number?
You'd think Mr. Nichols would have it. He's working for him.
Well, just like Peggy said, I mean, she's just now getting
Well,
stuff. If they don't
They can
have
give
all the
us-
information.
They may give us general figures, yeah, they're not gonna be able to give us individuals, yeah.
That weren't paid?
Right. But, yeah. They may be able to give us some numbers.
You know, I'd like to know, does it affect 5 employees, or is it 50, or?
Yeah,
I'd
me
say it's
too.
gonna be close.
I'm gonna guess closer to 50% employees.
It's under.
Can I give you my fax number? And just whenever you get a chance, if you can fax that to me. So it's 563-3714.
Anybody else have anything for the comments before we adjourn the meeting? Meeting's adjourned.